there's been a lot of time spent apologizing for past regimes and past mistakes. And I think not enough time celebrating what we do here amazingly, which is week in and week out, put one of the very best wrestling shows on anywhere in the world. So I think 2024 is really that statement. We're back. We're back. TNA Wrestling is here. You look at all those things, like there's no more apologizing. I don't want to hear about what happened in 2012 or 14 or 16 or whatever. That's the past. Under Impact, what we did, we went out there and we established stability. We established stability and consistency. And we've started to now be consistently good and consistently great. And I think 2024 is what we do is we go out there and we say, we're Impact Wrestling. We're going to go out there. We're going to be a creative force in the business. We're going to be an agent of change. And we're going to go out there and put out kick-ass events. And, if you don't like it, cool. If we're going to let your cup of tea, cool. We know what we do is good, and we're going to go out there and do what we do. And that's just put out amazing, fantastic shows with an unbelievable roster and a support team. So super excited for us. I think the time, the landscape in wrestling is perfect for it. And we're going to go out there and do what we do, be an agent for change.
A follow-up question from Adrian Hernandez. How much of an interest is there to sign Will Ospreay, especially after his matches this past weekend?
Yeah. Look, Will Ospreay is arguably the greatest wrestler in the world right now. And I don't know if it's even disputable that 2023 Will Ospreay is having one of the greatest years of any wrestler in history. So I think any company that said they didn't want Will Ospreay at the center of their universe would be lying. So, Will's kind of been pretty honest and upfront about what's happening and the fact that he's going to be a free agent soon. And the second that his contract expires, he becomes the hottest free agent in professional wrestling. Would we love to have Will Ospreay? Absolutely. Will Ospreay is a great talent. You saw, 2 examples of that this weekend. You saw him and Mike Bailey put on a match of the year candidate. And only the people there have saw it live so far, but you'll see it in an upcoming week of Impact Weekly Television. Will Ospreay and Josh Alexander went out there and put on an unbelievable match. So, and then Ospreay's comments, both to Josh Alexander and about Impact Wrestling. And I just think it's cool. You look at the greatest wrestler in the world, you look at the hottest, soon to be hottest free agent in professional wrestling. And he's sitting there and saying, look, I wanted to come here to Impact Wrestling. But when I was young, I dreamed of being in a TNA ring. So, that opportunity is open to Will Ospreay. And I can tell you that, I've had conversations with Anthem Sports and everything else and let them know. And they're well aware of who Ospreay is and what Will Ospreay is. And, don't know where Ospreay is going to end up, but there's certainly a seat at the table here and a meaningful one where he could be at the center of a lot of that advancement and change that we talk about. But in the meantime, I guess I've got to get down to the fact that, he ended up his stay here this past weekend by saying he wants to wrestle in a TNA ring. So we better get that done and get it done quick.
No argument here. Moving on to another question here. This is from Tim Battle, iHeartRadio's nationally syndicated wrestling podcast, specifically the Battleground podcast. His question, with the reversion to the original TNA name, can you provide insight into how this decision was made? Did it involve repurchasing the name? And can we expect all new championship belts, or will we be using the classic TNA belts?
Yeah, and look, I think I covered a little bit of it earlier by saying that when I got here and took over the helm going into 2018, the company had gone through so much. It had been TNA Wrestling, then Impact Wrestling, then I think it might have briefly been TNA. Then it was GFW, then it was Impact, and coming in, the last thing it needed was another name change. What it needed was to figure itself out. What it needed was, like I said, it needed stability, it needed consistency, it needed respectability. And we spent a lot of time under the Impact banner doing that. And I think we've proven ourselves. But the fact is, when this company was formed, when this idea, was first hatched, 3 men on a boat, with Jeff and Jerry Jarrett and Bob Ryder, it was Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. That's what they were looking for. And, I think that while we found that stability, under the Impact banner, and very proud of that, I think what we now have is we're ready to go there and have our growth and our true success, our true second golden era under our true name, TNA Wrestling. And I think that for those that, and I've had a few people say, but boy, I really like Impact. Well, we're back where we're supposed to be. The name of the company is TNA Wrestling. But every Thursday night, you're tuning in to Impact, TNA Wrestling, Impact. And I think both of those brands have value, but I think TNA at our core is who we are. And I think it gives us back that swagger that maybe we've lacked. When I talk about, too much apologizing, that's done. Are we going to make mistakes? Absolutely. But when we do, we'll get up, we'll dust our stuff off and ourselves off, and we'll just get back at it. We are going back in the direction. We are going to go back to our roots. We are going to look to honor the history at all times of men like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle, and even like the still here. I mean, we're lucky enough to have Eric Young and the Motor City Machine Guns, Frankie Kazarian, some of the originals. But we are going to go out there and we are going to press. Remember, when the whole business zigged, we zagged. When small wrestlers weren't allowed to be in the main event, even in WCW for all their work with cruiserweights, they didn't main event. They main evented here. AJ Styles is world champion here. We changed an industry. When tag team wrestling was almost obsolete, we went out there with Team Canada and America's Most Wanted and 3 Live Crew and, so many other great teams, Triple X and everything, and did tag team wrestling right. And when women were still wrestling in mud and jello and fighting over who might get a chance to sleep with a man twice their age, we went out there and gave women a platform to go out there and be athletes and be respected and showcased as such equally. So we will continue to do those things. And I think we're going to go out there. And I think people for a long time have asked what Impact Wrestling is. And I think now you're going to see a clearer, cleaner vision of that. And I think it's an amazing time in wrestling. Not here throwing shade at anybody else. I think there's a lot of great things out there, but we're very confident in putting our foot in the ground, planting our stake and saying, we're really good at what we're doing. We're coming.